Welcome back to Time Freedom Daily. This is your daily spot for business building, motivation, investing, crypto, everything in between to help you get to your time freedom goals. And today is Friday. Chris, my brother, how you doing today?
I am great. My favorite day because we get to interview amazing people. I love
Absolutely. Absolutely. And today is no different. You know, we're going to have someone on here that has had an amazing journey to reach success and some time freedom. And I love the fact that we're able to learn and have nuggets shared with our viewers that will really help, get them over a hurdle or learn a lesson maybe they haven't learned yet. And, it's just a blessing to be able to have these people on and share their knowledge with us.
It really is. And her story is so inspiring. You guys, she's my ex. So there's that. And before we begin, remember to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, share it out. But whatever you're watching on today, show us some love, hit that like button. And let me bring her up because I know she's pretty special to you too, John. She
Absolutely
certainly represented a huge portion of your business. Hey, Janetta.
Absolutely.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Absolutely. So we're really excited to do this. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on here today. I know you are always busy, productively busy.
Definitely. This morning was no different.
I'm sure. Yeah. So Chris, why don't you start us out with the questions, man?
Well, first off, why don't you just give us like a little rundown? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey, and tell us where you're at.
All right, perfect. Well, hi everybody. This is so cool. I don't think I've ever done one of these before, this type of thing. So this is different and definitely fun. And thank you guys so much for inviting me on to share my story. I always say, I don't think I'm that cool. I think I'm super, just regular, just very average. Not maybe the typical entrepreneur, social media influencer or any of that. But I think that's part of, what has helped me to gain this level of success here. So I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I'm a mom. I'm a mom of four, first and foremost. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a business owner. I'm a friend, and, when I started on this journey, I don't think I started on this journey, Chris or John, to become anybody like big and famous and wealthy or any of that. I really started it to, kind of live a more fulfilling life. And I always think you don't go like finding your purpose in life. I think your purpose finds you.
Sure.
And where my life was prior to Thrive in my business, and I truly believe that having gone through all those different experiences is why, it led me to, where I am, what I'm doing now. But it gave me just a wider perspective of what I needed to do here. And not just, with the product I have or the thing I have. It's the platform that it gave me that allowed me to help other people to really live the life that they deserve. And so that's what I do every single day. I'm not the brunch having, yacht lifestyle photo shoot, doing type of entrepreneur. I am that regular woman, that everyday mom, and I think more people need to see that.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Love that. And I didn't know you very well from when we got started. I just knew that you're a hustler. I saw it. I saw you going out with your baby in tow, going and doing your thing and trying to get people to figure out what you're doing and see if it worked out for them. And I'm like, you know what? I need to continue to reach out to this person. And I did. And, you know, what I want to know and what our viewers really want to know is you were obviously an entrepreneur mindset before you had success in what we're doing now. Tell me about what that choice was. When was that choice made, and what came about in your life where you thought to yourself, you know what, I'm not sure that 9 to 5 is for me. I want to help. I want to be a business builder. I want to be whatever it is I want to be. When did that choice come about?
Okay, so that's a pretty simple answer for me. I became a mom, and you know how people know, you know, you might hear people say, I was born to do this, or I was born to do that. I knew early I was born to be a mom. And prior to my business now, I was a teacher. I was an educator, right? And I remember then, and I was still in school, like my goal was to become a principal. I just knew that, you know, I was going to be a principal of a school, and you know, that seemed great. And I think that was, you know, probably the career choice I made because I do, you know, love children. I'm a nurturer. I'm a mom by nature, right? So naturally, that's the career path I wanted to be on. Well, I became a mother myself. And I think at that moment for me, my whole perspective changed. My perspective on time changed, you know, like where I wanted to invest my time, that sort of thing. Time became the focus for me, right? And so it was, you know, and I wouldn't say the finding my thing or my purpose, like I said, it finds you. That part was not easy, right? Because you have to go through the experiences and the ups and downs and the pains and the failures in life to get to that point. But it was definitely having my first son that made me realize I wanted to spend as much time, you know, with him as I possibly could, more time, and shout out to all the teachers and educators and all that. There's, to me, I mean, there's so many amazing careers, jobs, and people, you know, doing all sorts of amazing things, helping the world. But I think, you know, teachers don't get as much love and respect that they should get. And that being said, though, I still, for me, like I said, I knew early on I was meant to be a mom. For me, I just knew I wanted more time with the people God gave me, right, to take care of than with anybody else. And so, yeah, and so that decision, you know, it started to, I kind of started to think about it a whole lot more. What am I going to do that will allow me enough time to do what I know I was brought here to do, right?
Awesome.
I remember you used to say you couldn't think of a 9 to 5 that would pay you enough to be away from your kids. I used to love that.
Man.
Right?
Oh man, yeah. There were times, you know, of course, where you consider, you know, do I get the you know, the I don't want to say regular, but help me with my words, guys, because yeah,
a 9 to 5
pregnancy brain is real. Okay. Like, I forget regular words. So if I stumble, help me out. But
for sure.
But anyhow, you know, I would think about getting the typical 9 to 5 job or going back to the classroom, John. And I remember times like, you know, going on interviews and just knowing I landed the interview, right? Like I knew. And then I would sit in the car and I would think to myself, okay, well, what number would they have to tell me as far as salary wise what would that number be that they would come back and tell me, where I would say, okay, that's worth giving up all my time with my
That's it.
children.
Right.
Yep.
And even and I've said that so many times, and every time I say it, it gets me emotional, because for me, there is no number. There is no number that I could say, well, yeah, all right, well, I'm willing to give you, 10 hours of my day.
Right.
Right, where I couldn't be there with my kids. Like there was no number that would have been worth it for me.
Makes sense,
That's it.
for sure.
That's it. So you are, like you said, you have 4 kids now, another on the way.
Mhm.
Super busy. We talk about all the time, like, we're all really, really busy. And yet on the side, you run a multi-million-dollar business. What does your day look like? What does your morning routine look like? Like, how do you fit that in? A lot of people can't wrap their head around. Everybody thinks they're as busy as they can possibly be. How do you wrap your head around fitting that in and building what you've built?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely, as you know, Chris, John, with having little ones, you have to expect the unexpected, so every day is not always going to be the same, of course. Like this morning, Chris, I got to school and realized I didn't have shoes. Like I walked out of the house with no shoes on, like crazy, right?
Good thing we live in Florida.
Right? I left without shoes. But any typical day, here's the thing, like I know that there's certain things that I have to get done. There are some non-negotiables for me. I know that, for an hour or two that I'm going to connect with some people that I've really been wanting to connect with, and with the goal of being able to get to know them and get to know where I can serve them. I definitely carve time out for my family, for my children. But here is the biggest piece of advice I can give people when they ask me about, how I get it all done. My biggest piece of advice is do what works for your family. Mm-hmm. Okay. I remember coming into this type of industry, this space, and I remember seeing all kinds of people with all different types of schedules. And had I looked and thought, my life had to look like theirs, I would have been frustrated. Mm-hmm. My family would have suffered. My children would have suffered. I would have been frustrated. I will say to discipline yourself. I will say to treat this or any type of business you start. I don't care what type of thing you're doing. I would say have the discipline enough to treat it like a business. Mm-hmm. Show up for it. That does not mean that my schedule has to look like Chris's schedule. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that my schedule has to look like John's schedule. And so I hate sort of giving people, my rundown of my day, because then what people do is, okay, I want to be exactly like Janetta, and I want to do things like this.
Great
no,
point.
All I can tell you is that I get it done. Mm-hmm. Right? All I can tell you is I have a mental list, and sometimes, I do need to write things down that I need to do specifically for the day. And those things are getting done for me. Sometimes I've got to put the time block next to it. Sometimes I've got to tell my kids, just like I had to tell them yesterday, look, lights out at 8 o'clock.
Mama's got to work.
Doing at 8 o'clock, I'm doing me, mm-hmm. right? But that might not be your life. Okay, so yes, my days are full, they're crazy, but schedule yourself accordingly, according to how it works for you and how it works for your family. Don't look at anybody else and think, it has to be this way for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Love it. So, I love the way how you put that. We talk about a lot when we're talking to, other people in our businesses, to have that blinder on. Remember, people on social media are really just showing you their highlight reel. You don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. So, you really can't if you want to be successful, you got to, you nailed it on the head. You got to do what you have to do what works for you, because otherwise you're trying to live a life in highlights and it just doesn't work. Never will. Segueing into our next question, we're always trying to create lessons for people that are watching us. If you could think back to an obstacle, a failure, or something that was, very, very important in where you're at today, and how you learn from that obstacle, or how you overcome that obstacle or failure, however you want to, put an adjective on it or definition on it. Share with our watchers here, something that you've learned from that has allowed you to become who you are today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've definitely had a lot of hard things happen. And I wouldn't necessarily call them failures. I call them lessons, for sure. But I think if I could go back, what I would do differently is I wouldn't have waited so long to take control of my own life. I wouldn't have let other people dictate my life for a long time, as far as, dictate what you're doing with your day, dictate where you go, dictate, what you can be. I had people, in my life who wanted me to be something other than, a teacher. And then they wanted me to be something other than doing what I do now. I wouldn't have waited so long to become the CEO of my own life. Mm-hmm. Like I would have started earlier on making my own choices. I would have started earlier on making intentional, decisions for me, doing what was best for me. I wouldn't have waited so long, John.
No, I got it.
Yeah, and those failures is what brought me to that point where I realized, hold on, right. I'm responsible. Yeah. Like, oh crap, like it's me. I get to decide what happens next, sure. Right? And I think for a long time, I thought somebody else was going to fix it. I thought somebody else was going to take care of it. Right. I was stuck there for a sure. very long time.
Right.
So yeah,
what do they say? If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me. So I definitely wish I would have adapted or adopted that lifestyle, that mindset,
sure,
much early on.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Powerful.
I love it. I love being the CEO of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. You almost answered my next question. We usually ask, like, what advice would you give to people that may be stuck, like what you said, allowing other people to tell you where you want to be. What advice would you give to those people on how to become the CEO of your own life? I know it takes a lot of bravery or, a sense of immediacy to make that choice and make that jump. But what would you say to those people that feel stuck?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's a matter of, will, and it's a matter of why, right? Mm-hmm. I always say that nothing else matters except for why. Like, you think you're stuck now, right? I bet if a bear were chasing you, you would get unstuck really, really, really fast, right? Yeah. So the why for me is like, I would say to people to dig deep, and find out why it is that you're seeking more, mm-hmm. right? Like, anybody watching this video, they're seeking more. There's something inside mm-hmm. them that's saying, there's more out there. They're not maybe really sure what it is, but this is the time where you got to dig really deep and figure out, do I want to just pay bills and die, or am I ready to like live? And what does that look like for you? Chris, I know living for you means adventures.
Yep.
It means
Actually living, not just surviving.
yeah, it means doing things, you know. I know that's what that is for you. And so then you say to yourself, okay, well, what are the things that I can do to help me to achieve that particular thing? See, because everybody's going to have different whys, different reasons, but does the activity match the goal and the lifestyle, you know, that you want to have, right?
Sure.
And so, yeah, I would say to those people that, you know, you literally can live the life that you want to live, but it takes planning. It takes knowing what that is, what it looks like. Now that might change over time, might look different. The cool thing is that you can change, you know, the way you're doing it while you go along too. And that's really cool. You know, I think my desires have changed over time. You know, I got to the place where I was making good enough money where, you know, okay, this was good. So what it changed from was maybe a dollar amount to a certain feel I was looking for. Right? Like, yeah, the peace of mind.
Your rewards can change.
Oh yeah, that's it. You said it perfectly, right? So at first, yeah, we do need things, right? We need homes, we need vehicles, we need certain things, right? For our children, right? And for ourselves. And then after that, Chris, it became, okay, how can I help other people to do this, right? That's still the goal every single day. And then it became, you know, finding the balance for me in all of it. So it will change over time. But the first step is deciding what you need right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So, you know, we're big proponents of investing in yourself, education, reading, listening, whatever it is to bring the stuff that we don't know into our life. We try to do that here on the stream, but you know, we always try to ask our people that we're interviewing, what has inspired them or who has inspired them? What have you tapped into that our viewers can tap into themselves and see if it brings them the same fulfillment or education or motivation that you got from it?
Okay, so there's a couple ways I would answer this question. And I hope the first response, you know, sometimes, well, I'll just say it.
Sure. There's no wrong answer.
Never.
Right. So I think what's important for a lot of people, a lot of the thing that most people miss is that they look to other people instead of looking to themselves.
Okay.
The very first thing that I did when I decided I wanted more was I looked inside. That meant a whole lot of inner work, John. It meant a whole lot of meditation. I remember not knowing a thing about meditation and yoga and all that, but I knew that there was something powerful in me, and I needed to find what that was, right? And what that was belief, right? Again, that mindset, belief, all of that, right? And so I knew that if I was going to develop anything, if I was going to build anything, I needed to build myself. And I needed to develop myself, because I could go and listen to all types of people. It's why people have to go to church every single week, because the stuff doesn't last, the thing that they're getting, because most times they haven't done the work on themselves. So they go back because they kind of need a little bit more because it didn't last, right?
Right.
Right. They can't even absorb, what they need to absorb, right? Because they're not ready to receive any of it. So I think the first thing I would say is get that personal development that you need, but you never stop doing that. That's ongoing, the personal development. Because if you're going to develop anything, you've got to develop yourself first. So for me, that looked like a lot of meditation, aligning myself with like what did I want, and being able to I don't want to get too deep into this, but to fully connect myself to those things that I really wanted, and being able to actually receive the information that I needed for me to get to where I wanted to be. Okay. And then the next thing was, I always tell people to have that first aid kit. Your first aid kit, when you feel like, okay, the work that I've done on myself, I feel like it's depleting a little bit. I need a little bit more. You have that first aid kit. It might be a person. It might be a book. It might be some motivational speakers. My gosh, like I love Mel Robbins. I love, oh my gosh, Les Brown's. And sometimes you just need that, that extra thing to fill your cup a little bit more.
Sure.
I've got so many books right here that I've read a few times. I don't get to do a lot of pleasure reading with all these kiddos, but definitely the fact that we have audiobooks is a big plus.
For sure.
and you have them on the go. Those are the things that I have in my first aid kit. Where you go back to some of these things and remember, the things that you need to be doing, the things that you need to be focused on. Right now, I think that might be one of your questions, but I'm listening to Harness Your Inner CEO, where this lady, Becca Vaughn, she talks about, she worked in corporate America and, had gone to her boss and, was telling her boss, like she knew that she wanted more, right, out of life. And he told her, she was thinking he'd be all upset, right? But he told her, you are the CEO of your own life. And so this book just talks about, and it's mostly geared towards women, but how to be a mom and how to be a wife and how to take care of all the things that we need to as women. But also, you can at the same time, you are allowed to want more, so that's what I'm listening to now, because that really is, my life.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
That's where we are.
I mean, Chris, she pretty much answered the next question,
right.
So you may want to just jump into the next one.
That's what I was going to do.
Yeah,
if you were interviewing somebody like you, what would you ask you? And then what's the answer to that question?
What would I ask myself?
If you met somebody like you, you meet amazing people quite often. What do you ask them? What do you always want to know about somebody else that's inspiring, that's amazing?
Okay. Well, the question I get asked the most by people is, what do I do when people don't believe in me? Or what do I do when people tell me no, they're not interested? What do I do when I don't have support? Usually the questions are something having to do with other people. What do I do when, those are the questions I get asked the most. And I'm the perfect person to answer that question because, I was the person that no one thought that I would overcome as many hurdles and obstacles that I've had to overcome. And so my response to that, I'll keep it PG, but my response to that in a very PG way is, when you go back to why you're doing something, Chris, and I always go back to why, because that's all that matters.
Mhm.
When you go back to why you're doing something, nothing that anybody says that is not attached to that why
Yeah.
matters. Nothing. So I would say, you know, remember why you want to do
Mhm.
it, right? And that why should, if it's strong enough, if it's big enough, if it's important enough to you, that why should cancel out any opinion of anybody else.
Yep.
You're going to have people tell you all kinds of things.
Mhm.
You're going to have people mock you. I did. You're going to have people laugh at you. I did. You're going to have people, you know, sharing all kinds of, if they can't find it, they'll make it up. You'll
Mhm.
have all kinds of stuff, you know, but do it anyway.
Right.
Do the thing that you wanted to do anyway, because at the end of the day, you know, those people aren't going to help you figure out how to get, you know,
Right.
the life you want, the life you deserve, for that why that you're working towards.
Love it.
Love
Love
it.
it.
Mhm.
So we have a signature question that we ask all of our people that we come in and interview, and it's pretty simple. What does time freedom mean to you?
Mm. When I hear time freedom, it makes me happy. I
Mhm.
feel relaxed, like my shoulders just, you know, kind of fall. Time freedom means less worry and more happiness. It means peace. It means laughter. It means joy. And that for me, I find in my children, in my family, in my people, in my circle. It just means being able to give more.
Mm-hmm.
That brings me a lot of joy. It means being able to live more, see more, experience
Mhm.
more, right? Again, I never felt like I was just meant to pay bills and die. And so
Right.
time freedom allows me to not think about that stuff so much, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's really it. It allows me to give more, do more, be more, serve more. That's what it is for me.
But the choice is yours, right?
That's
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
That's it. Love it. Awesome. So look, I mean, you hammered home some of the things that we knew. I love the way you put things
Mhm.
in your perspective, and I believe the people that are going to watch this video or are watching right now are going to get a lot out of it. So we appreciate your time because we know you're super busy.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. No,
Yes.
thank you so much. That was amazing. And John's right. You guys show us some love. You know, if you're whatever you're thinking, if you agree with some stuff, if you don't understand some stuff, leave some comments and you know, I'd love to hear more. But thank you so much, Janetta. That was awesome.
Bye, everyone.
All right, we'll
Take
talk to you
care.
soon.
Awesome.
That was awesome, you guys. Hope you guys
Yeah.
enjoyed that. We will be back probably later with a market update.
For sure, for sure. Please like and subscribe, share this out, get it to your circle. People need this information. It is, you got to figure out why you want to do the things, and you got to take control of your life, right? 'Cause
Absolutely.
that's one of the main things that I
Yep.
that I got from this. And honestly, I'm thinking about the way she shared about her failure or
Mhm.
not failure, but of not doing it sooner.
Mhm.
Like
Realizing
seriously,
you can be
I
the CEO of your own life.
right. I feel that way 1,000 times over. Why didn't I do it sooner? Why did I
Love that.
do what I did for so long for somebody else when I could have been doing
Absolutely.
it for myself? But it's our journey, and we take what we get from it, and we do what we can with it.
Yep.
So great interview, Chris, and we'll probably
No.
circle back a little later and let everybody know what's going on with the markets and talk something for the weekend. So how about you?
Absolutely.
Anything planned for the
Absolutely.
weekend?
As always, you guys make today amazing, and we will see you guys on the next episode of Time Freedom Daily.